Hello humans. Welcome to our channel where we use our own cast, maybe very strange for some people but very talented. Today we will show impressive stories direct from the powerful United States of America, a country that inspires the movie industry worldwide. First story is based on supernatural, confidential events that some say are true and happen in one iconic house not known by ghosts but power. Jake was a journalist who had always dreamed of interviewing the President of the United States. He finally got his chance when he was invited to the White House for a press conference. He was thrilled and nervous, and prepared his questions carefully. He arrived at the White House, and was greeted by a friendly staff member, who led him to the press room. He waited for the president to arrive, and looked around the room. He saw many portraits of past presidents, and felt a sense of awe and history. He wondered what secrets and stories the walls could tell. He also noticed a door that said, "Do not enter." He was curious and asked the staff member what was behind it. The staff member said it was an old storage room, and that there was nothing interesting there. He said it was off-limits to visitors, and advised Jake to stay away from it. Jake nodded, but he was not convinced. He had a feeling that there was something more to the door, and that it was somehow connected to the president. He decided to investigate, and waited for the right moment to act. He saw his chance when the president entered the room, and everyone's attention was on him. He slipped away from the crowd, and headed to the door. He opened it, and found a staircase that led to the basement. He descended the stairs, and reached the bottom. He saw a dark and dusty room, filled with old furniture, books, and papers. He also saw a large mirror, covered with a cloth. He walked towards the mirror, and pulled the cloth. He gasped, and dropped the cloth. He saw a reflection of himself, but not only himself. He also saw the faces of several people behind him, staring at him with angry and accusing eyes. He recognized them as some of the former presidents, such as Lincoln, Kennedy, Nixon, and Reagan. He realized they were the ghosts of the White House, and that they had something to say to him. He heard them speak, and felt a chill on his spine. They told him that they were unhappy with the current president, and that they wanted him to expose his lies, crimes, and corruption. They said that the president was a threat to the nation, and that he had to be stopped. They said that Jake was their chosen messenger, and that he had to do his duty as a journalist and a patriot. They also warned him that if he refused, or if he failed, they would haunt him for the rest of his life. They said that they had the power to influence his mind, his dreams, and his actions. They said that they would make him suffer, and that they would never leave him alone. Jake was terrified, and tried to run away. But he found that the door was locked, and that he was trapped in the room. He screamed for help, but no one heard him. He was alone with the ghosts, and their voices. He wished he had never opened the door, and that he had never seen the mirror. He regretted his curiosity, and his ambition. He knew he had made a grave mistake, and that he had no way out. He was haunted by the ghosts of the White House, and they were not going to let him go. No one knows when that happened, and the questions remain. Please like and subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Help us to keep up our art. Well, our second story is still based on American culture, and for that we will travel to the Old Western. The sun was setting over the mountains as Butch and Sundance rode their horses across the dusty plains. They had just pulled off another daring train robbery, and they were feeling confident and happy. They had a bag full of money, a loyal gang of outlaws, and a reputation that made him legends in the West. Butch was the leader, the brains behind the operations. He was charismatic, witty, and always had a plan. Sundance was his partner, the best shot in the gang. He was quiet, loyal, and deadly with a gun. Together, they were unstoppable. They reached their hideout, a cabin in a secluded valley, where the rest of the gang was waiting for them. They greeted them with cheers and congratulations, and soon they were celebrating their success with whiskey and cards. Butch and Sundance sat at a table, counting their loot and sharing jokes. They felt like they had the world at their feet. They didn't know that their luck was about to run out. The next morning, they woke up to the sound of gunfire. They looked out the window and saw a posse of lawmen surrounding the cabin. They had been tracked down by a relentless detective, who had followed their trail for months. Butch and Sundance grabbed their guns and ran outside, ready to fight their way out. They exchanged fire with the lawmen, who outnumbered them 10-1. They managed to kill some of them, but they also took some hits. They were bleeding and wounded, but they refused to give up. They decided to make a break for it. They mounted their horses and charged towards the gap in the posse's line. They hoped to escape to the nearby border, where they could find refuge in another country. But as they reached the edge of the valley, they saw more lawmen waiting for them. They had been ambushed. They had nowhere to go. They looked at each other, knowing it was the end. They smiled, defiant and proud. They had lived by their own rules, and they would die by them too. They raised their guns, and shouted their last words, "Forget the money, let's go out in a blaze of glory." They fired their last bullets, and the lawmen fired back. Butch and Sundance fell from their horses, dead. They were the most famous outlaws in the West, and they died as they lived, together. The last story today tells us about capitalism and crime on American style. I hope you like my story. It is based on a true event that happened in Miami in 1990 when two college students tried to steal money from an FBI sting operation. It was one of the most bizarre and hilarious cases of criminal stupidity ever recorded.
It was a hot summer day in Miami, and Dave was bored. He was a college student who had nothing to do during his break. He decided to call his friend Mike, and see if he wanted to hang out. Mike agreed, and suggested they go to the beach. Dave thought it was a good idea, and grabbed his towel and sunscreen. They met at the beach, and found a spot to lay down. They enjoyed the sun, the sand, and the sea. They talked about girls, sports, and movies. They had a good time, until they noticed something strange. They saw a group of men wearing suits and sunglasses, carrying briefcases. They looked like secret agents, or drug dealers, or both. They walked towards the water, and opened their briefcases. Dave and Mike were curious, and decided to take a closer look. They saw that the briefcases were full of money. Lots and lots of money. They saw stacks of $100 bills, neatly wrapped in plastic. They saw millions of dollars, just lying there on the beach. They couldn't believe their eyes. They looked at each other, and had the same thought. They wanted some of that money. They waited for the right moment, and made their move. They ran towards the briefcases, and grabbed as much as they could. They stuffed the money in their pockets, in their shirts, in their pants. They ran away, laughing and cheering. They thought they had hit the jackpot. They thought they were rich. They thought they were smart. They were wrong. They didn't know that the money was part of a sting operation, set up by the FBI. They didn't know that the men in suits were undercover agents, trying to catch a notorious drug lord. They didn't know that the money was marked, and tracked, and fake. They didn't know that they had just committed a federal crime. They found out soon enough, when they heard sirens and saw flashing lights. They saw police cars and helicopters surrounding them. They saw agents and officers pointing guns at them. They saw their faces on the news, and their names on the headlines. They saw their dreams of wealth and fame turn into nightmares of prison and shame. They realized they had made a big mistake. They realized they were stupid. They realized they were busted.
So humans, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel for more content like this. See ya.